Hello and welcome to Benz Addiction. Today I have 20 points to mention about the interior of these CLKs. I have taken apart few of the interior parts, and specifically I wanted to show you what's happening under the skin of Mercedes Benz CLK interior. This might apply to any Mercedes Benz from 2002 to 2007-8, including W211 and W203 and W221. So stay tuned. So as I mentioned, I have taken apart some of the rear pieces of my CLK A209 to replace all of the hydraulic cylinders, and I have done that. But I intentionally didn't put together all of the rear pieces, so I can show you what's happening here. So I'm going to go through 20 points to mention about the CLK class W209, A209, C209. If you want to buy one, or if you are going to keep one for an extended period of time, that might help you to tackle some of the issues and know your car better. First point I wanted to mention, taking all these parts apart from this car, I noticed that most of the fittings on this car is actually bolts and nuts, and high quality bolts and nuts, and there are less clips, plastic clips and things like that. That is especially a good point, a proof of good quality when it comes to the interior noise and how you want to take the parts and put them back together. And when it clips, it can break, it can make noise, and it's not gonna feel very well. But Mercedes-Benz CLK W209 is not like that. It's very well put together in terms of fittings. Point number 2 is about the general quality of the seats, upholstery, and all the interior parts that are very well. After 20 years of use and abuse, this car, for example, has more than 126,000 kilometers. If you notice, even the driver's seat, which takes the most abuse and depreciation, it is still in very good shape. There is no massive tear or wear on even the driver's seat. And everything and every single bits and piece, including the door trims and door cards, of a very high quality material. Again, looking at my CLK A209 seat, you will see that there is nothing wrong with it after 20 years of usage. And even these bolsters over here that are very prone to wear, but they are very intact, and even the stitching are still very well on them. Talking about the third point, and as I said, how good the fittings are, the screws are well used, and there are abundance of screws and bolts and nuts used. I can definitely say driving these cars, you won't notice many noises coming from all these fittings, and even the sunroof. You rarely should hear any noise even after 20 years because of all the fittings, all the bolts and nuts, and all the high quality material that are used. There is barely hard plastic used in the interior of this car, and that is another factor that plays a big role when it comes to the interior noise. Next point that I would like to talk about, and this actually surprised me, is the level of safety features. This is the rear seating area, and you can see that the seatbelt pretensioners are there, still very intact. All the harnesses are looking very good, and these are the side airbag for the passenger rear area. And for the A209, you get these safety features. They pop up. If it detects some kind of dangerous situation, it will make this headrest to pop, and that might save the passengers or even the driver's life. The next point I wanted to mention was the dashboard and the way it looks, and the comprehensiveness and the beauty of it. This dashboard, unlike many of the modern cars, it's very thin and it's very small as it could be, it is. And it's not like a RAV4 or a Camry or a big SUV with a very big dashboard. It gives the driver and the passenger a very good visibility, and it's very nice to look at. Something that we are actually missing on the modern cars, to be honest. The next point I would like to mention is about the storage areas. This car, although it's a coupe, it has many good compartment and storage areas. For example, here you have a very deep center console compartment. Also, you have this little kind of ashtray like compartment over here for the keys or remotes or things like that. Even your logbook over here has its own compartment and net area over here that you can have it over here and it's not going to get lost. You also get good size door pockets over here, and you have a very good glove box over here to store few things. In the rear seat section, you have this little compartment that you can use. You also have this handrest feature that gives you two not very useful cup holders, but at least it's giving you something, which I adore for a coupe or a convertible four-seater car. Next point to mention over here is about the seats again. The seats are very comfortable. They've got a very good size bolsters, and they really nail you to the seats coming to the curvy roads. And they also are firm enough to give you the sense of sportiness, and they are comfortable enough for longer hours of driving. It's definitely not the S-Class softness in terms of sponge, but they are comfortable enough when you compare them in the coupe or convertible segment. Next point to mention is about the visibility. As I said about the visibility at the front, you have this little dashboard that gives you a good visibility for the front. But having no C-pillar, that means you have great visibility, especially when it comes to shoulder check. And this is a very great feature for W229 design. You will also get a great visibility looking back and reversing the car, and this is a great advantage too. One thing I want to mention is about why Mercedes-Benz is so expensive comparing to other normal cars when new, and that's about thinking about everything. Looking at the aircon vents of this car, these adjustments to the vents to close the vents and open the vents are electric, and that's because Mercedes-Benz wanted to keep the design, and they just wanted to eliminate having a separate adjustment over here. And it's very nice to have all the controls at the touch of the hand of the driver. For a four-seat coupe, you will get separate vents for the rear seat area, which is great. And this is kind of missing even on modern cars for even the bigger sedans and SUVs. One more great feature to mention over here is the access to the fuel pump. As you can see over here, by removing only two bolts and removing only this seat piece from the rear section, you will get access to the fuel pump easily. Unlike many modern cars, that accessing the fuel pump is not easy as it should be. I know there are hundreds and hundreds of features to mention over here, but I would like to stress more. The head unit that Mercedes-Benz installed on these cars are still very functional, and you still get navigation, CD changer, and you can also install Bluetooth module at the back of this unit, and that's easy. And it also gives you a line-in option, which is in your glove box. So what else you need from a head unit? It also gives a very good high quality sound. And one more thing to mention, this car even doesn't have the optional Bose sound system. It's the original standard system, and it still gives me a much better sound quality than many modern standard cars. One more feature that I would like to mention, and I mentioned every time in my videos, this front seat is actually adjusted for my height, and my height is also almost 6 foot. So, and look at the amount of legroom that I have here. It's really sufficient for 4 people, and it can fit 4 people really comfortably, and that's a great feature. On the other side of the equation, I have some of the problematic issues that I would like to mention. For anyone that owns CLK for a long term, or for anyone who wants to buy, this might be helpful to consider always. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to consider or maybe fix at some point. Okay, first thing to mention is the glove box of Mercedes CLK is not the most sturdy part of it. So the latch behind this glove box, it might get loose at some point. And as you can see over here, I had the same problem with this car when I bought it, and I had the same problem with the other Mercedes C209 as well. But I remedied it quickly with only 2 cable ties behind the this latch. So this latch was wobbly and loose, and that was the reason why I couldn't even close my glove box. But now look how easy it's closing and opening without a problem. So even 2 cable ties tied back in the back of this latch can solve this problem. The air shooting or the airflow coming from the front vents, in my opinion, it's not the best. I mean, modern cars, I think they are much better in terms of shooting the air, especially when it comes to the summertime. Especially Australia has a very hot climate. So this is my experience with 2 of the W209s that I own. But that mentioned, you get many vents, and that kinda makes up for this little issue that we have, and that, but the aircon and heating system overall is very good. Next point to mention, and I have mentioned this on other videos too, the headliner might sag, but that again is not a big deal, and that is fixable. It's a one-day project. I have this video as well. So at some point, it's a 20 years old car, I mean, and these problems are very normal for such age. This is fixable and not a big deal. It doesn't require a lot of money either. It needs a DIY pasting a new fabric to the headliner. And on a C209, a coupe, it's much easier than a sedan, because removing the one-piece fiberglass headliner from here is a piece of cake. On the downside is your sunroof might end up with a mechanical problem. I have had the same issue, and I had to replace my sunroof mechanism completely, and that project was completed together with the headliner project, so that was not a big issue. But if you would like to buy a Mercedes CLK coupe, make sure the sunroof is functioning properly, because leaving this sunroof open you might end up with some rust around this area, and you don't really want to see that. One more point to mention is about the rear glass of this car. Some cars you have seen probably that the window doesn't go down completely, but look how well designed this car is. You completely can get rid of the window and have this nice opening over here, and that's a great feature and a great design for Mercedes W209. One last weak point I should mention for those who want to buy a CLK W209, and it's again not a deal breaker, and I have a fix about this issue as well, and that is about the headrest. They are of course adjustable electronically by operating this button over here. And when you want to get in the rear section of the car, important for them to be functional. I think these are the first things that they break because people might push them forward a bit early, so that wouldn't allow the headrest to go down soon enough and not to hit that sun visor, so that even might cause the headrest mechanism to break. That was all I wanted to mention about the interior of a Mercedes Benz W209. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing. Have a great holidays and enjoy your Christmas, and please watch my other videos. Thank you.